Nice guys often seem to leave relationships or jobs or friendships suddenly and without warning. To others, it looks impulsive. Everything seems fine until he just says, "I'm done." And there's more to this story though, and that's what I'm going to cover in this video. I decided to talk about this after I got a comment from a woman who watched one of my videos. This is what she said. "I recognize those traits in my now-to-be ex-boyfriend. He was a pleaser. We had a stable 4-year relationship, never had a fight or any serious issue. And to my surprise, all of a sudden he said, 'I cannot do it anymore.' No real explanation was given. Some generic wording for a breakup. It's not you, it's me. I want you to be happy. It's BS. We all know it. Going back to your video, those are his real issues. Also, he could not be enough of a man to tell me what was really bothering him." Okay, so, I don't claim to know exactly what was going on between that woman and her boyfriend. It's very possible that this was typical nice guy behavior. I've seen it in other men, and I used to live it myself. This is often what happens. Nice guys don't like conflict. They want everyone to get along. They therefore tend to be overly agreeable. They tend to do whatever they need to keep the peace and make the other person happy. Of course, the reality is one human can't actually make another person happy, but nice guys still try. Part of their people-pleasing behavior is to suppress their own needs. Nice guys will often say they're fine and don't need anything, and they truly don't want to inconvenience anyone. They also hide their own flaws and are afraid to express an opinion because they fear judgment. So they just go along to get along. Unfortunately, they don't always say what they mean and mean what they say. They might say yes, or that they like something when they really don't. In relationships, they have trouble establishing boundaries and speaking up when they need to. So, in a normal relationship between two non-people pleasers, it's much more likely they'll speak up with each other as necessary to keep things on track. So if someone does something the other person finds offensive, it's more likely the offended person will speak up. There's give and take, and this is healthy, right? But with a people-pleasing guy, he'll keep quiet. He'll convince himself that if he's just nice enough, if he doesn't rock the boat, everything will magically get better. And no, he's not scheming or trying to be manipulative. He probably thinks he's doing the right thing, that he's being mature, respectful, even helpful. But what he's actually doing is slowly disappearing from the relationship. And of course, this isn't how relationships work. Problems that build up don't typically just go away on their own. So at least for a while, the nice guy will likely just keep smiling to himself and to the other person and try to convince himself that everything's okay or will be okay. Complicating matters further is the fact that the nice guy has been suppressing his own wants, needs, and opinions for so long that he isn't even sure what they are. He becomes disconnected from who he really is. He's aware that he's trying to be nice and make everyone happy and doesn't want any problems. But it's highly likely that he lacks the self-awareness to know how his behavior comes across to the other person in the relationship. He's probably not aware that he's hurting the other person because he's too afraid to be honest. He's also hurting himself by silencing his own voice and neglecting his own needs. He doesn't realize that being in an authentic, loving, trusting, connected relationship means that he needs to be a real, honest human who has opinions and flaws. He's so afraid that if others see who he really is, they won't want him. So as the relationship gets more off track in his own mind, he probably doesn't understand exactly what he's feeling and why. He just knows that he's frustrated and unhappy. He's experiencing what's called cognitive dissonance, and this is the feeling we get when our actions aren't aligned with our values. So imagine you're 12, you walk into a store with some friends, they steal some candy and you say nothing, but you've got a strong moral compass. Well, that tension you feel inside, that's cognitive dissonance, and that's what he's feeling. Eventually, the tension becomes intolerable. He just can't take it anymore. So instead of discussing what's going on with the other person, he's more likely to abruptly end the relationship. Not only was he probably too afraid to discuss what he had been upset about, the reality is he probably couldn't even articulate it to himself. And to the other person, this is devastating. How could everything seem to be fine for so long? We didn't fight. He didn't say anything was wrong. And now he just wants to end our relationship? You can see how this would feel so hurtful and also how it seems abrupt and impulsive to others. But it wasn't, at least not to him. He had been living in his own head about the situation for a long time, and to him, he finally made the decision to relieve the emotional pain that he had been feeling by ending the relationship. And this doesn't just happen in relationships. Nice guys leave jobs, friendships, and family roles the same way. Quietly, suddenly, but it's all the same pattern. If this feels like you can turn it around, but only if you stop pretending everything's fine. I've got some other videos on this channel about nice guy syndrome if you're interested. And if you're watching this video because a people-pleasing nice guy left you, I want you to know it doesn't mean it was all fake. It means that he never learned how to show up as himself. He likely didn't want to hurt you, but he has a lot of his own stuff he still needs to figure out. I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe for more content like this. Have a good day.